2023 has been quite the year for the automotive industry. We've gotten plenty of interesting reveals from various brands, and EVs continue to expand in every part of the industry. Lamborghini unveils a new hybrid flagship, Tesla finally puts the Cybertruck into production, and Koenigsegg reveals the 2,300 horsepower production Gemera. But the concept cars this year have also been something to talk about. Here are what I believe to be the 5 best concept cars this year, and what I think about their designs. First off, you can't talk about concept cars this year without mentioning the Lamborghini Lanzador. How does Lamborghini translate their design language into an EV? They maintained angular, chiseled surfacing despite most EVs being smooth and bubbly. But one thing about the car that confuses me is that it does not seem to fit into any specific segment. It's not an SUV, but it's not a sports car either. It's in a strange middle ground between the two. Another car that does this is the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which isn't a sedan, but it isn't a crossover either. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I'll leave up to you. Overall, I think the Lanzador is distinctly Lamborghini, and I think that Lambo's electric future is looking good so far. One of the craziest concept cars of the year, and next up, the Porsche Mission X shows us what Porsche imagines their future of electric hyper-performance will look like. Clearly inspired by motorsport, the Mission X is full of intricate and eye-catching details, such as the headlights or the sweeping glass canopy. Everything is designed with the utmost care and thought, as you would expect from Porsche. That being said, I do think that the Mission X has a bit of trouble identifying itself as a Porsche, but concept cars tend to go into uncharted territory like that, so it isn't too bad. I think that Porsche has done an outstanding job at showing us what their future may look like. If the Mission X is in any way a preview to the eventual 918 successor, then count me in. This next one is fairly recent. The Genesis X Grand Berlinetta, revealed just now in December, is a look into the minds of designers at Genesis to see what they think a hypercar from Genesis would look like. Carrying usual design elements from Genesis, the X Grand Berlinetta is easily recognizable, despite it being new territory for Genesis. I especially like the rear end design, which can be broken down into just a few simple shapes and elements. Now, we can only dream that Genesis will build a production car with the same ideas as this amazing concept. Next up is the Mercedes-Benz Vision 111. Inspired by earlier experimental cars, the Vision 111 takes on a very experimental feel of its own, especially in its design. It holds a very futuristic and digital theme, while also being one of the most retro concept cars this year. It has very smooth surfacing, but still feels sculpted because of certain details sprinkled throughout. Concept cars are made so that brands can explore new designs and show people their thinking without the limitations of cost or production constraints, and the Vision 111 has done just that. When looking at the best concept cars of 2023, I couldn't leave out the poster synergy. 3 winners of the poster design contest combined their designs with Polestar to create this stunning hypercar. Even though it is unlike anything previously seen from the brand, it is instantly identified as a Polestar. The lines of the car blend perfectly with elements such as the exaggerated wheel arches and the single-seat cabin. Various air vents and ducts are visible throughout the entire design, adding to the emphasis on pure performance. Some of my favorite parts of the car are how the front end lights extend up all the way down the side of the car, and the shape of the car from a top view reminds me of other hypercars or even a Formula One car. It's these small details that make this concept car stand out from others and what makes it one of my favorites this year. So that's my top 5, really, the best concept cars in 2023. I'd also like to mention 5 honorable mentions that didn't make the cut, but concept cars that I still think are worthy of mentioning. So, to start off, the Mazda Iconic SP. Mazda revealed this concept car earlier this year to show what an electric Mazda Miata might look like in the future, and I think it does a great job at showing us how lightweight electric sports cars of the future may look like, especially from an iconic car like the Mazda Miata. The Porsche 357 was a celebration of Porsche's 75th anniversary this year. Inspired by the 356, the 357 shows us a combination of really past and present and future for Porsche. And I think that it does it very well, combining old with new. The Honda Prelude is a concept car revealed by Honda to show that retro designs can be combined with modern elements to create a very clean and simple sports car design for the electric age. The Nissan Hyperforce, revealed this year, is a design exercise that shows off some wild elements from Nissan. Inspired by the GTR, it shows us that designers can kind of go wild with concept cars sometimes, but I think that's part of what makes concept cars so special, is that designers are completely unrestricted and don't have as many limitations as they do with production cars. So that's why I wanted to include it in the honorable mentions. And lastly, the Volkswagen ID GTI shows us what an electric Golf GTI could look like in the future for Volkswagen. I think it's one of their nicest electric cars that they've shown so far, and I really hope we get to see a production version soon. Like I mentioned earlier, concept cars give us something that no other cars can. They allow us to get an unrestricted look at the ideas of car designers, and they, in many cases, let us see into the future of automotive design. 2023 has been a great year for concept cars, and I'm glad to have shown you some of what I think are the best ones. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in 2024.